I love a couple of things right now. My favorite has been so far, and it got brutally savaged, I think, in the Times and some of the other papers. The show called Prince of Broadway right now that's happening at the Manhattan Theater Club. It's this fantastic retrospective of some of the biggest works of the famed director Harold
Harold Prince.
Prince.
When you said it, I thought, could it be Harold?
Yes,
Yeah.
and
Who
in
knows
that
Kathy
show,
Bean very well, who's been
Really?
on our show.
yeah,
That's
and it's
odd
one of
world.
these shows that if you are someone who like I said, now this is the kind of show that I would recommend to someone who might think they like musical theater but not really sure. Because one, you don't have to sit through an entire show and go through the arc of characters that you may or may not care about. You are getting the highlights of some of the absolute most fantastic pieces of shows
That
that
he's
have
done.
ever
Oh
worked
my
on
God.
Broadway, and the cast. I don't know how to tell people. You don't realize the caliber of people that are on that stage working every night. It's Chuck Cooper, Tony Award winning Chuck Cooper. You got my Karen Ziemba, who I fucking love her. Another Tony Award winner. Emily Skinner, who you might remember from not Trading Places, Sideshow.
Yeah.
It's like Trading Places. From Sideshow. Tony Yazbek, if you got to see him in On the Town. The true freaking triple threat. That man is everything.
So where are they staging this?
At the Manhattan Theater
Their
Club
theater.
space on 47th Street, the
Yep.
Samuel J. Friedman
Uh-huh.
Theater, yeah. And again, it's one of those shows that I recommend because if you're not someone who knows a lot about Broadway, then there's a perfect general survey. It's like Musical 101.
So why do you think it got beat up in the Times?
I think that it got beat up because I for some reason, folks, I don't know what they were expecting. Like
Yeah.
it's a review show. It's a musical review.
Got it.
So there's no real mystery. There's no real
But
thing.
it's not Priscilla Queen of the Desert, which someone called a jukebox musical.
Which is exactly what that is. It's a total jukebox musical.
That is, but
That
not
is.
not Prince of Broadway.
But not Prince of Broadway in that these songs were already on Broadway. It's not like they're bringing in pop music
Right.
from
And
whatever
they're
the
hits.
day. And well, they're
The
like
sh- the shows.
the show's actual individual things. And you're getting Brandon Uranowitz. Some people forget Brandon. That's my baby. 2-time Tony Award nominee, Brandon Uranowitz. I got you, Brand. But these guys, there's like some new faces that were there that I didn't know. This young woman named Janet DeCall, who was in The Heights. There is the sister that is giving Liza Minnelli's version of Cabaret a run for that's money. Her name is, Brianna Palmer. Yeah, Brianna Palmer. And there's another girl, Kaylee Voorhees, I believe, is the other
How
one.
long
who's
is this on
and,
for?
and Michael Xavier. I got to make sure to get them all because they are all
Talented.
the talent. Michael Xavier, if you got to see Sunset Boulevard this year before with Glenn Close,
Close.
he was the hunk of
Wow.
man in that show. And it is a true enjoyment thing. And then the thing that I'm looking forward to now as far as musicals is this new show that David Yazbek had called The Band's Visit that it's based on the movie.
Never even heard of it. The band's visit.
The Band's Visit. And it's one of these Palestinian, Israeli,
Fascinating.
stories where some band ends up in the wrong place. And they are trying to work it out through the music. And
Oh my gosh.
David Yazbek, who is amazing, composer, lyricist.
So
who's
is it a
working on the
comedy?
show. I don't think it's really a comedy. It's more like a dramatic something with a message.
Almost sounds a little Mel's Brook.
It should be Mel Brooks, but it's
yeah.
not. It's a little bit more serious. And then you can never go wrong off Broadway. That's the other thing that people forget.
Off-Broadway.
Is the off-Broadway theaters have really great shows that sometimes can talk about things that you can't see on a big commercial Broadway stage. And so there you are having all these great conversations. And that was what the summer was like. I'm actually getting ready to go see a show that's going to be opening, I think, next week called Desperate Measures. I'm seeing it in previews tomorrow. And it's this musical version of Measure for Measure, but they have it set in a different time period. And it's
Our
gonna
musical
great.
it's Shakespeare's
Shakespeare
measure,
Measure,
for
and they're kind of zhuzhing up the story with a whole different
Zhuzhing.
kind of, giving a story. So, and that's over at the York Theater. But that's the kind of stuff that I would, say recommend.
I actually think you did a perfect job, and the spectrum's great
Oh, thank you.
because I am now thinking of those three. I'm like, how
Well, we're
long
going to
is
have to go see them. John.
Well, you have to go see the
Prince of-
Prince
probably
of
the
Broadway
Prince
soon because I think it's closing near the
That's
end of
what I was
October.
curious.
That's the show you
because
should try to
Manhattan
go see.
Theater Club does.
Short runs because they always have so many different great projects all at the same time. But I hope that it could find a bigger space and stick around a little bit longer because I think to me that is the perfect show that you could bring. That's the one you bring. bring Mama and Daddy to. It's like everybody knows
great
if I
idea.
were
That's a great
rich
recommendation.
man.
That's a great recommendation.
It's filled with the hits, you know.
And the thing that I love the most about it is that they were very conscious of making sure that there were people of color in this production because, literally speaking, every show that they get,
originals,
the
yeah.
originals ain't nothing but white folks in them. And
Yeah.
to see someone like Tony Award-winning Chuck Cooper sing "If I Were a Rich Man" and sing the Jesus out of that song, you're like, okay. And what he has done is he's made it possible for someone like me 10, 15, 20 years ago living in some small town to say, I could play Tevye.
Yeah, I can do it.
Tevye is not something
That's
I can't
fascinating.
use.
That is
Same thing with Taye
fascinating.
Diggs did Hedwig and the Angry
Yeah,
Inch a
that's
few years ago.
fascinating.